This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 504, All-Weather Portfolio, 5 Questions and Answers About the Mix, Part 1 by Tony Tran with IWillTeachYouToBeRich.com. And I'm Dan, the guy who reads to you from some of the best blogs on personal finance. And don't forget that this is just one of 5 podcasts where we narrate content for you. I also host Optimal Business Daily, which regularly features content from I Will Teach You to Be Rich, along with many others. And we also have Optimal Living Daily, Optimal Health Daily, and Optimal Living Daily Relationships. All you need to do to find those is search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this show. For now, let's get right to our post as we optimize your life. All-Weather Portfolio, 5 Questions and Answers About the Mix. Part 1 by Tony Tran with IWillTeachYouToBeRich.com. The all-weather portfolio is a diversified asset mix first introduced by hedge fund manager Ray Dalio and popularized in Tony Robbins' book Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom. I can already hear you now. Yeah, another portfolio mix that's supposed to solve all my money problems. What makes this one different? Well, as you might be able to guess, this portfolio is designed to weather through any financial climate, be it a bull market, bear market, recession, or whatever. And based on its historical performance thus far, it holds up to the name. Let's take a look at the all-weather portfolio, its origins, and how you can build one yourself. Who created the all-weather portfolio? The all-weather portfolio is the brainchild of hedge fund manager Ray Dalio. Dalio is the founder of Bridgewater Associates, the world's biggest hedge fund firm, according to Forbes. The firm is also famous for its flagship Pure Alpha Fund, a fund that holds nearly $40 billion. Oh, and Dalio also predicted the 2008 financial crisis. From The New Yorker, quote, "In 2007, Dalio predicted that the housing and lending boom would end badly. Later that year, he warned the Bush administration that many of the world's largest banks were on the verge of insolvency. In 2008, a disastrous year for many of Bridgewater's rivals, the firm's flagship Pure Alpha Fund rose in value by 9.5% after accounting for fees. Last year, the Pure Alpha Fund rose 45%, the highest return of any big hedge fund." End quote. Before all that, though, he had a relatively modest upbringing. The son of a working-class Italian-American family, Dalio worked as a golf caddy when he was young, earning tips from his wealthier clientele. After a brief stint on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, he started Bridgewater Associates in 1975 out of his Manhattan apartment. More than 3 decades later, it's grown to a massively successful hedge fund firm that manages over $160 billion in assets. It wasn't until he was interviewed by motivational speaker and life coach Tony Robbins, though, that he revealed his all-weather portfolio to the world. In an interview published in Tony Robbins' book Money Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom, Dalio presented an asset allocation mix that Robbins says, quote, stands the test of time, end quote. Let's take a look at the exact asset allocation in that portfolio now and see the reasons behind why it works. So what's in the all-weather portfolio? The asset allocation of the portfolio is broken up like this: 40% long-term bonds, 30% stocks, 15% intermediate-term bonds, 7.5% gold, 7.5% commodities. The reason he chose those assets goes into his theory of economic seasons. According to Dalio, there are 4 things that affect the value of assets. 1. Inflation, the increase in prices for goods and services, and the drop in purchasing value of a currency. 2. Deflation, the decrease in prices for goods and services. 3. Rising economic growth, when the economy flourishes and grows. 4. Declining economic growth, when the economy diminishes and shrinks. Based on these elements, Dalio says that we can then expect 4 different seasons the economy can go through. They are higher than expected inflation, rising prices; lower than expected inflation, or deflation; higher than expected economic growth; and lower than expected economic growth. So he constructed a portfolio with assets that have performed well when each of those seasons occurred. The result is a diversified portfolio that can consistently earn you money while keeping you financially secure during bear markets. A few interesting takeaways from the portfolio. 1. The portfolio has a relatively low amount of stocks. This is due to the high volatility of stocks, and if you're trying to make a portfolio that's as risk-free as possible, you're going to want to minimize that. 2. Bonds make up the majority of this portfolio. According to Dalio, in Money, quote, This counters the volatility of the stocks, end quote. And if you're building a portfolio that prioritizes minimal risk over making as much money as possible, this is the way to do it. 3. There's 15% in gold and commodities. With the high volatility of those assets, they do well historically in environments where there's inflation. This all combines to make a well-balanced portfolio that can weather any season. But how well has it really done in the past? Backtesting the all-weather portfolio reveals that it does generally live up to its name. Robbins writes, "The strategy Dalio shares has produced just under 10% annually and made money more than 85% of the time in the last 30 years, between 1984 and 2013. And it isn't just Robbins who's saying this. Others have backtested the all-weather portfolio, and some have even found that it outperformed the popular 60-40 asset allocation mix from 1984 through 2013. Robbins also notes that if you invested in the all-weather portfolio from 84 to 2013, you would have made money just over 86% of the time. The average loss was just under 2%, with one of those losses at just 0.03%. A few more fast comparisons. 1. When backtested during the Great Depression, the all-weather portfolio was shown to have lost just 20.55%, while the S&P lost 64.4%. That's almost 60% better than the S&P. 2. The average loss from 1928 to 2013 for the S&P was 13.66%. The all-weather portfolio, 3.65%. And 3. In years when the S&P suffered some of its worst drops, 1973 and 2002, the all-weather portfolio actually made money. So how do I build an all-weather portfolio? Hear that in tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled All-Weather Portfolio, 5 Questions and Answers About the Mix by Tony Tran with IWillTeachYouToBeRich.com. And I'm going to wrap up this post for you tomorrow. And before we go, don't forget once again that you can subscribe to 4 other shows where we narrate blogs for you. It's totally free, and we cover topics ranging from personal development and relationships to business and health. All you have to do is search for Optimal Living Daily to find the other shows. And that'll do it for today. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the Friday show tomorrow, where we'll finish up this post. That's where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more, from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.